Welcome back to the ETF Inspector. It's Wednesday, July 23rd, almost 10:30 at night. Sorry getting this out so late. If you didn't see the post on X, I took my kids to the county fair tonight, so just now finally getting to get home and put this together. I'm going to try and get through a little quicker. This is the YieldMax video for ULTY, the Ultra Option Income Strategy Fund, and LFGY, the Crypto Industry and Tech Portfolio Option Income Fund. They are both weekly dividend payers, and today was dividend X date, so we're going to get to talk about that a little bit. As always, I'm on X to give you a heads up when videos are coming out, or if they're coming out late like that. I also repost when distributions get announced. It was in there somewhere. But before I get started, huge shout out. I just wanted to say a thank you to, it was Rare Nomad. All right, he said, enjoy the coffee. He followed the link. The website's called Buy Me a Coffee, but you're able to change it because I don't drink coffee. So if you read mine, it tells you that I don't drink coffee, so let's call it Buy Me a Share. But that's just a way to say thank you. If you want to, no expectations, obviously. But Mr. Brian Wong hooked me up big time, so thank you very much, sir. All right, it was kind of a mixed day. Good bit of each on the screen, right? ULTY was up about 1%. Decent mixture, but more green than red. And then LFGY was down a little over 1%. Again, maybe a 50-50 mixture if you look at if you saw on the thumbnail. So every day after 5:30, we go ahead and download the intraday trades, but some people ask me how you get that, right? It's just right on that website I showed you. You scroll down, maybe a little beyond halfway, intraday trades. It becomes available, like I said, around after 5:30. Then in the morning, the holdings becomes available. We download that to update the spreadsheet. All right, but when you get that, it really doesn't give you all the information. It just tells you quantities and prices, so I have to create another cell for multiplying it all out. I have to change all the purchases to negative so it looks like money spent and doesn't look like we just brought in tons of money. So I want to start, since it's Wednesday, talking about our declarations. We'll start with the weeklies. Not in any particular order. It's easier for me to just keep them this way because I've already got all the links tied in. So LFGY was 48.76 cents. Chippy was 37.23. GPTY 32.19. RDTY had a good week, 39.01. SDTY was 16.07 cents. And QDTY was 19.44 cents. YieldMax back to having good ones after a couple of lousy ones, 18.38 cents. ULTY came in at 10.29 cents, and YMAG was over 20.33 cents. So out of the weeklies, if we're talking percentage-wise, ULTY wins again. You guys are used to hearing that. That's why we like this video. That's why we like these that fund. So they paid out 84% based on their closing price. Now, as far as Group C, I think I have these in order dollar amount wise. So Hui was not only the top dollar amount, but the top percentage as well, with $6.89.81. That was 123% yield. Carvani, CVNY, was $2.04.73. That's a weird way to say it. Coney, honorable mention there, over 100% with a 79.51 cent declaration. AMDY, I cover them as well as NFLY and MSFO, 56.56 cents. Nefli 43.50, and Misfo 41.39 cents. And then Abney for Airbnb. I guess I should. This is obviously for AMD, Netflix, and Microsoft. Airbnb's 37.48 cents. PayPal's 27.31. And then Fiat. I want to say that's an inverse of the crypto, but I'm not positive on that one. 13.81 cents. Okay, so we start on the trades page, but we'll talk about ULTY's distribution real quick compared to our estimates. So they lost money trading in the previous week, so we knew it wasn't going to be based off of income. I should have just left my guess to go along with the IV estimate, because then I would have only missed it by 2 thousandths, right? Tenths, hundredths, thousandths. I would have been off by 2 thousandths. That would have been great. But I upped it to 11. I thought they were going to give us a lot since they increased in value so much. But I turned out to be off by 6.9%. Okay. I'm going to try and get through these a little quicker than I usually do because it's really late past my bedtime. Put a whole bunch of money to work from more people buying into the funds. So just buying. We didn't buy anything we don't already have. We just added on to underlyings that we already do have. We sold some of Robinhood, ASTS, and Palantir, but not a total amount to get out of it, just portions. Bought a lot more Tesla. All right, and then so I'm not going to go into the details of these. So it's just a AAOI on a roll. Brought in a credit of 303,000. AppLovin, this is just selling more options to go with the new shares, $122,000 credit. ASTS must have gone up through our strikes, so we had to pay to close them out and roll them. That's a $5.5 million debit or loss. Coinbase, $910,000 credit on the closeout and roll. Looks like they rolled the next week. First Solar, $56,000 debit, closing out and rolling again to next week. Robinhood, this is just closing out the options that went along with the shares that they sold. So if they sell the shares, then they're going to close out the options that go along with them. $4,500 debit, kind of inconsequential when we're talking about a $1.8 billion fund. INOD, putting the new shares to work by selling options off of them, $362,000 credit. IonQ, closing out and rolling a portion credit of $153,000. Mara, there's a nice win to offset that loss. What was the loss on ASTS? Mara bringing in over $3 million on the closeout and roll to next week. MicroStrategy, another $1.5 million, same thing, closing out and rolling portions to next week. NBIS, this is just selling options to go with the new shares, $225,000 credit. Oklo, this is another painful loss, buying to close and rolling, $2.7 million debit. Palantir, we sold some shares, 75,000 shares, so we had to close out the 750 contracts that were associated with those, $38,000 loss. Reddit, selling more options to go with the new shares, $87,000 credit. Rigetti, SMCI, and SMR, same thing, just selling options to go with the new shares, $158,000, $617,000, $146,000, and $229,000 credits, respectively. I shouldn't have read Tesla's there. Tesla is not part of that. Tesla was, that it is all just selling new options to go with the new shares. Upstart took a loss, $1.1 million on the closeout and roll. Vertiv, just selling new options to go with the new shares, $328,000 profit. And Vistra Corp, close and roll. Stock went up beyond our strike, $2.7 million loss. So all of that totals up to a $4 million Loss on the trading day or debit. That's our first one for the week. We're still in the positive overall on trading. And as you can see, generally, losses on trading days come with nice big increases in values for the most part. So we're looking at 34 plus million. How can I get through this faster? Let's see. AAOI down a small amount. They rolled the further out of the money. They still have 28.6% out of the money. App Lovin' up almost 3.5%. No action taken, even though their 360s did go into the money slightly. ASTS up 3.21%. They rolled the ones that went in the money. They still have 59s that are 0.14% out of the money, or 8 cents. Coinbase, they rolled everything after the decrease today. Everything was out of the money, so they took the win on all these options. First Solar down just a little. I guess they decided to go ahead and finally roll these 175s that were 2.6% in the money. They still have 177.50s and 182.50s, 1.25% in the money and 1.5% out of the money. Robinhood up almost 0.25%, still 4.8% out of the money on this week's 107s, and over 10% out of the money on next week's 113s. Innodata up 2.1%, no action taken. These are out for a couple weeks, August 15th, so we got some time before we're worried about them. IonQ up 3.2%. They took these further out of the money ones and closed them, rolled them for the win. They still have 44s that are 1.6% out of the money, expiring Friday. Mara was the big loser today, down 11.6%. They rolled the further out of the money calls, and they still have 20s that are 13.8% in the money. MicroStrategy was down 3.2%, rolled all options, took the win. Nebius Group up 1.7%, no action taken. They've got 53s and 54s expiring on Friday. They're 2.1 and 4% out of the money, with the stock at 51.88. ServiceNow was down 0.6%. Their $1,000 strikes are 4.5% out of the money. Oklo was the big winner. These were looking good until today. They got pretty far in the money, at least for the 64s, so they closed and rolled them. They still have 66s that are 1.5% in the money. Palantir up 3.7%, taking the first two strikes in the money by just about 3 and 1.3%. They still have 155s that are 0.24% out of the money. They did not close or roll these unless I forgot to highlight it. Do we have a Palantir? Nope. All they did was closed out to go along with the shares that they sold. Reddit up 0.2%. Their 145s are 0.75% in the money, and their 150s, about twice as many, are 2.6% out of the money, expiring Friday. Then they have 155s for the following Friday that are 6% out of the money. Rigetti up 4.6%. Still didn't go in the money. They still have 2.2% to go. Same strike chosen for this week and next week. SMCI up big, 3.69%. Still 0.5% out of the money on those 52s expiring Friday. New Scale Power up 7.6%. Another pretty big gainer. Took everything in the money, 3.8 and 1.7% in the money, but they did not take any action. Tempest AI was up over 6%. Another one took their 64s, 1.3% in the money, but no action was taken. Tesla up 0.14%. Still winning these as of right now. I'm not sure if today was, I think they were announcing earnings after close today. I could be wrong. I lost track once I got home to the kids. But 3.7 and 4.4, we could probably tell real quick. We'll just take a look at Tesla in the after hours. dropped 4.4%. So my guess is they reported earnings and it didn't go well. Either way, looking like we're going to close these out as a win. Upstart up over 5%. So these went from just out of the money to in the money. They rolled them. We still have 82s that are 2.5% in the money that are in play. Vertiv Holdings up 3.9%. These 128s are actually out till next Friday, but they're already in the money by 1.6%. And Vistra Corp up 5.8%. They rolled the 192.50s. They still have 195s in play that are 2.5% in the money. If you noticed, we've gotten rid of all debit call spreads, and we are just doing collars on everything. So we are up to 100%. There's a collar for every stock. We own stocks and then sell calls and buy puts. All right, so that's how we got to the $34.6 million increase in value today. As of this morning, before that, we were up to a $1.8 billion in assets under management. That's after yesterday's $10.5 million additional shares, bringing us up to 288 million outstanding shares. And that's all we've got for ULTY. Next, we'll jump over to LFGY. It goes a little quicker, less stocks in the fund, less overall trades. So we're not going to go over the individuals, just the ones where a complete position got changed out. First one's Coin. Again, they took the win, closed them, rolled them out to next week. $431,000 credit. Circle, same thing. Closing out for the win, paying 40 cents, selling the new ones for $6.34, so $105,000 credit. And Mara and MicroStrategy taking 2 more wins, closing out and rolling to the next week. Really good on Mara, paying 4 cents to close them out, collecting 57.38 cents, $242,000 credit. And MicroStrategy paying 31 cents to close them out, collecting $7.24 for next week's. Very nice. $108,000 credit. That totals up to a $913,000 profit on the day, and we are profitable for the week as far as trading is concerned as well. When we take a look at the distribution that was announced today, 48.76 cents. So we showed that they lost money last week trading, so we knew it wasn't based on that. The IV said they were supposed to pay 51, almost 52 cents. So we're definitely paying under the IV here. I moved it down because we lost so much trading to 50, but I didn't move it down enough. I missed by 2.5%. They went with 48.76. So it seems like they are going more with what they've been paying recently as opposed to keeping up with the IV. We'll give them a couple weeks. Hopefully they'll get us back on that IV. All right. BitDeer was up 0.68%. 1450s got a little deeper in the money to 1.69%, and the 15s are still 1.69% out of the money, so sitting right in between them. CleanSpark down over 3%. These 1350s are 8.4% out of the money. Coinbase down 1.64%. So the larger position, 695 contracts, they rolled because they were far enough away. They've got 70 contracts at 425 that are still in play, 6.8% out of the money. Sorry, I'm starting to get that sleepy voice. Core Scientific up a fraction. All right, one penny to be exact. They've got 14s and 1450s, 10 times as many at 1450, 3.7 and 7.5% out of the money. Circle Internet Group went up 2%, but they were so far out of the money that we still just closed them and rolled them, took the win. Galaxy Digital was the big winner over here, up 6.6%. That took their 30s in the money by 3.3%, but no action was taken. They've got 3350s also that are almost 8% out of the money. GameStop down 1.25%. That brought these 24s back out of the money, looking like we got a better chance of winning the trade, but just barely. 0.17% out of the money. Robinhood up almost 0.25%. The 117s and 120s are pretty far out of the money, 14.6 and 17.5%. Hut 8 Corp up 1.17%. Still 6.2 and 8.5% out of the money on those 23s and 2350s. 23s is where all the money's at, though. 4,500 contracts. IBIT was down slightly, a little over 0.75%. We don't own any options on there, so it's just the share value change. Mara Holdings was the big loser on both funds, ULTY and LFGY, 11.62%. They went ahead and closed those out and rolled them, took the win. MBTX was down slightly. They've got a credit call spread with the calls sold at 295, so they're well under them, 5.25%. And then they have a debit put spread with their purchased put at 230. Those are currently 18% out of the money. You would want them to go in the money to win that trade. Mercado Libre up 0.4%. This week's 2470s are still 3.1% out of the money. MicroStrategy down 3.2%. They rolled the 46250s as they were pretty far out of the money. The 450s are still in play, 9% out of the money. NU Holdings up 1.3%. Just barely out of the money. We've got 13s for this week and next week. This week's not very much left. Most have been rolled. Next week's got the 4,800 contracts, 0.3% out of the money. NVIDIA up 2.25%, still about 2.5% out of the money with 2 trading days left, 175. Opera up 0.8%. Surprised they didn't take the win on these. They were 15 cents before the day started, and they're still 13% out of the money. They've got to be single digits by now. PayPal up 0.87%. They've got 79s that are 3% out of the money, expiring next Friday. Riot up about 0.5%. Expiring this week, they've got 1450s that are 1.1% out of the money, and 1650s that are 15% out of the money. Again, these were 6 cents to close before the day started. Surprised they didn't. Let's see, maybe I missed it. Nope, Riot did not buy to close. And then Block XYZ up a little over 0.5%. They've got 81s that are 1.6% out of the money. And then they have a debit call spread here. They bought the 83s and sold the 84s. So at that point you would want, so this is a very peculiar play. I can't speak. So we sold a call on 81, meaning to win that trade, you'd need the stock to stay under 81. But then we bought a call at 83, meaning we need the stock to go over 83 to win that trade, both with the same expiration date. So can't win them both. But I guess as long as you extract some time value, you can get a win. I don't know. This is where I'm not smart enough to criticize the pros. So that's how we came to a $2.4, almost $2.5 million decrease in value. We're slowly creeping up here in assets under management, up over 190 million. We'll be approaching 200 million soon. There were 125,000 new shares purchased yesterday, bringing our outstanding shares up to 4,750,000. All right, so quick recap. ULTY lost $4.1 million trading, but increased in value by $34.6 million. and LFGY profited $913,000 trading and decreased by just about $2.5 million in value. All right, we got the dad joke of the day. Before we do, thank you as always. Appreciate it. Hopefully you guys weren't too upset. Anybody that likes to stay up for the video and missed it, maybe you can catch it in the morning, put it on play on your ride to work or something. Apologize. Try not to make a habit of it, but you guys all know family comes first. So, dad joke of the day. What's a lawyer's favorite drink? Subpoena colada. That's pretty good. All right, 11 o'clock at night. So I'm not going to be in the chat, but by the time you hear this, it's the end of the video. So have a good night and catch you in trading tomorrow. Good luck if you're making any trades yourself.